Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday afternoon, July 14th, 2019, 5:24 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So this is our weekly update on methane, and NOAA had their methane data up for yesterday, so I'm going to report on that. We have methane data. The most recent is from Saturday here on CAMS. This is Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services. So we're going to look at methane, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide over here. And then we're going to do a follow-up on the Barry event, which is no longer a hurricane. It was a short-lived hurricane, and now it's been downgraded to a tropical depression. And then we'll do an earthquake report. So this will be a jam-packed show, so I hope you enjoy it. And I'm doing better. I'd like to thank everyone who's prayed for me or, sent me well wishes. And all your prayers helped a whole bunch. I'm doing a lot better. I'm not quite 100%, but I'm doing a lot better. So I'll be sipping on some tea during the show if I get too hoarse. But I want to bring all this to you today. So first of all, we're looking at methane here in the Arctic. This is where it left off on Friday, and we're seeing a lot of the more blue color in here, and it correlates to how this big sulfur dioxide mass is still hanging around the Arctic. It's where it's moved out, and so my theory is that the sulfur dioxide is kind of blocking the rays of the sun from getting through, and so the sun's rays aren't hitting the ground, and so there's less methane actually being released. But what you're going to find is that sulfur dioxide experiment of whoever did that, it's kind of backfired on them because methane is going up. And so this is where it left off on Friday. We've got release on Iceland. We've got high releases here in the Kara Sea. We've got yellow popping up on the coast here, and we've got more yellow, and we're going to be seeing yellow move across and into the Arctic. And I want you to watch this arm of light green. Now this lighter color of green is higher release of methane. That lighter color, that chartreuse color, is 2,000 parts per billion. And then once it gets into the yellow, you're moving on up, 2020 and so forth. So let's load up. Let's see if the movie is remembering that I loaded it. So the data is from Saturday, and the forecast period runs Sunday through Wednesday. So there it goes in the Arctic. And we've got huge releases over here, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, and this northwest part of Russia. I don't know why this is so methane ridden, but it is. And also we've got waves in Siberia. China is covered up, and there are parts of Canada that's got huge releases. Here's Alaska. Here's Russia, the eastern part of Siberia over here. This is the Kamchatka Peninsula over here, where you see these little dots popping up. That's where some volcanoes are. Oh, this is the Arctic view. And Okay, you see that arm moving across? There's the sea ice is melting really fast, and I'll be doing a sea ice update in a couple of days, but we've got holes already in the sea ice where this methane is moving across, and it really looks pathetic. It just looks very pathetic. And Robin Westenra did a climate and sea ice update on his blog, and it's very good. It's a good overview, so people can look at that, and you can see the state of the Arctic, which is it's definitely not good. And it's raining up there, and it's been raining for days, and there's masses of sulfur dioxide up here, and so when it rains, that sulfur dioxide and ash and whatever mixes with the water, and it becomes acidified, and then when it comes down as rain or snow onto the ice, it just eats it up that much faster. So if that sulfur dioxide event from a couple of weeks ago, if that was a huge experiment by somebody, then I think it backfired. If they thought they were going to keep that from, to cool the Arctic, they were going to make it cool the Arctic and keep the methane from coming up, I think they were wrong, and they just messed things up. They messed it up worse than it was. But that's what they do. Can't leave well enough alone. No, Satan has to pervert everything. Change it and pervert it, because he can't create. So he's got to take what God made and pervert it with technology or whatever. Look at China. It's a mess. And here's northern India, and here's Saudi Arabia's around in here. Look at Europe. It's a mess, and you can see these waves moving up, and that's a sign that the methane is on the rise. And here's the United States and North America. We got huge releases coming off the eastern seaboard, and see this arm of green moving out. Here's Mexico down here. Southern California has high releases. And right now, we're not seeing releases down in much in the south, because of the berry event that's going on. Okay, now let's go to global view. We'll just go on there. And here's what it looks like globally. We'll go back to the beginning. And you can see the background level. The background color is becoming not that dark green anymore, but it's more of the chartreuse and yellow and orange in a lot of areas now. So we'll just run this. We're also seeing releases in the Antarctic. This is on the edge of the Larsen ice sheets right here. Now here's an arm coming down from South America, but it's actually releasing along the ice shelf right here. It's also releasing at Pine Island Glacier. This is on the edge of the Weddell Sea. This is Not sure where that is. This is at the Amory ice shelf over here. So here's Australia, here's New Zealand. So it's in their winter time. It's totally dark down there, and we can see methane coming up. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong, and no one wants to talk about it. Alright, so here's sulfur dioxide. That's yesterday. Let's look at it for today. And remember, this is from June 21st and 22nd, when we had that initial big blast release from that Rykoki volcano over here. Where's Russia? Where's Kamchatka? I'm lost. I'm a little lost here. It's over here. Can't really see it too. I think it's over here. Anyway, that was the beginning of this, and it's like the sulfur dioxide has hung around, and it's kind of starting to break apart. Now here's a weird arm that's broken apart, and it's coming into North America. But I'll show you something else. If we go to surface level sulfur dioxide, we're showing a release up in the North Pacific, just off the coast of Canada, and we've got, it's red up there, total column is red, so we've got release there that's not normal. It shouldn't be coming up in the ocean unless that's volcanoes or earthquakes giving off. And the sulfur dioxide is such a mess up there, you can't tell what's new and what's old when it's coming up. You just can't tell. If we look at 500 HPA, it's very high levels of 500 HPA up there. And this Popocatépetl down here, but look how dense it still is. For it's been 3 weeks, maybe longer. June 21st and 22nd, and then total column. Here's total column. So you see where it's dark there. I'm thinking that's because we have a release here in the Pacific. So what does that mean? Could it mean that that plate is moving? It could, but this has been such a mess. Like I said, you don't know what's new sulfur dioxide and what's old sulfur dioxide up there. And here's Kamchatka. It looks like that's new stuff going on. Let's go to the North Pole view, and you'll get a better picture. See? Look at that. And I've been taking screenshots of this every day, and it was red all the way across, and now this mass has just moved on over. It's covering its northern part of Canada, Greenland, this whole North Atlantic. Now it's moving on across Norway and Russia, and it's coming on down over Europe, and down this arm is going down over the Atlantic. So I don't know what kind of weird experiment this was, but I think this is not natural. Here's Popocatépetl. It's going off all the time. And we have some more volcanoes going off that, you know, were giving this other sulfur dioxide. But there's so much sulfur dioxide on the planet now, it's insane. And I'm thinking this might be what's causing a lot of the respiratory problems. I think it's adding to it, because this is stuff coming up from volcanoes, and there's not just sulfur dioxide, there's other stuff too. So now let's go back to the globe, and we'll take a peek at carbon dioxide for this week. Now this is for Saturday. They run late on reporting, just like with methane. Now this is total column, and they measure this in parts per million. And we can see it's very dark down here. Well, right down here in the Gulf where the Berry event is taking place. Very high carbon dioxide readings here. Look, it's way in the dark brown, and it's high over India, and high, oh, it's high around the middle part of the earth. And this is from CO2.earth. They do a daily carbon dioxide reading. The latest reading is from yesterday, July 13th, 2019. The reading was 412.93 parts per million. That's gone up from last year. This time last year it was 409.48 parts per million. So it's gone up more than 3. And here's some more information from the Mauna Loa Observatory. This week, or the last few days, here on July the 9th, it was 411.58. July the 10th, 411.38. It was unavailable on the 11th and the 12th. And then on the 13th it was 412.93. And here's their graph. And so here we are right over here, 412.93. The highest it's been this year has been, well, we can go back. It shows all-time record highs. All-time record highs on May the 15th. That's still all-time record high. The Scripps reading was 415.70, and the NOAA reading was 415.64. So it spiked in May, and then it's gone down a couple of points, but it's still high, 412.93. That's 413 basically. It's still very high, as we can see. Okay, now for the NOAA readings. I went to the NOAA website and downloaded, I'm tracking the methane readings for the 477 millibar, but on the when you click on the image that says 477, it says pressure 469. So that's what it says. But I've been consistent with getting the same one each time. Now remember last week NOAA had missing data on satellite on METOP2 satellites, so we're not able to do a complete report last week, but it is complete this week. So they've got 2 satellites that take readings in the morning and the afternoon, so we have 4 readings. So here's the picture for METOP1 from the morning from yesterday, and the range was 1376 to 2312 parts per billion, and the mean, or the average, globally for this level was 1884. And so this fuchsia color is where this high range is, and we can see it correlates to the methane release that we saw in the Antarctic. It does correlate. This white stuff is missing data, and the grayed out area is no data. So we're seeing very high releases. Here's Norway, and here's all the way across Europe and Russia and down into China, and here's Alaska and Canada and so on and so forth. And up here in the Arctic, it's very high. Okay, next here's METOP1 for the PM, and look at all these white areas, all this missing data. Look at that picture there. This has got to be all AI. I mean, we're already living in this simulated AI experiment, I think. So the range here was 1512 to 2309 parts per billion. The mean was 1883. Here's METOP2 from the morning from yesterday. Lots of white again. And the range was 1434 to 2271. And the mean was 1862. And METOP2 from the afternoon. Lots of missing data, lots of white. And we see it's white right over the Berry event and over India and over parts of South America. Why is that? Just why is that? I don't know. So the range is 1437 to 2344, and the mean is 1859. So I took those four figures and I plugged them in, and I added them up and divided them by 4. And so for this 477 millibar, the mean for all 4 satellites average was 1872 parts per billion. And so remember, I didn't plug in last week since it wasn't a complete reading. So this has been since 2 weeks, since June 29th. June 29th it was 1866.5. So in those 2 weeks it's gone up 5.5 parts per billion. And since March 1st, since I've been tracking this, it's gone up 14.75 parts per billion. Now it does go up in the summertime. This is the time of year that it's going to be going up. So we'll see. Here we are today. Here's our chart. Here's where we started out March 1st. And here we are today. And I don't have anything to compare it to for last year, so don't ask, because I wasn't doing this last year. This is a new thing. So I don't know, if you want to do your own research and see if you can find out where it was at 477 average last year, you're more than welcome to do that. But this is what we've got right here, right now. And if we're here next year, which I really don't think we will be, we can compare and see what it was this time last year. Next year. But I really don't think we're going to be here next year. I really don't. And I keep saying time is short. But, we don't know. We don't know how much longer we have. We don't know if it's a day or a week or 6 weeks or 6 months or a year, or we don't know, but things are not looking good. They're not looking good. And like I said, that Arctic sea ice just looks pathetic. In fact, let me pause this. I'll pull up Robin's report real quick. I wasn't going to do this. It's going to make my show really long, but that's okay. I want people to see it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so this is from Robin Westenra from New Zealand. His blog is called Seymour Rocks, and it's robinwestenra.blogspot.com. And it says a report on the Arctic and global climate, July 13th, 2019. Arctic sea ice report, July 13. Rain at the North Pole. This shows it has been raining at the North Pole. See the green? And the blue is snow. And so, like I said, it's all that sulfur dioxide is not helping matters any. I'm going to skip that. A hole in the sea ice. And I take these pictures every day. So this is from Saturday. I'm sure he took his own picture though. This is on Climate Reanalyzer. And this is from Saturday, and it's moving out, and then we got this huge chunk melting in here. And we can't really see that on, it doesn't really reflect all that real well on NASA Worldview because of the clouds and because of the rain. That's where it's raining, see? And so the rain is just eating up, just melts, makes the ice just melt. Okay, here's the sea surface temperature anomaly. And where it's red or brown, that's higher, and the red is much higher than normal. And we can see all of Greenland is red and brown. Here's the North Atlantic, it's all brown. Here it is in the Arctic, that's pretty much brown. And it's really red here. That's where we got a hole coming out. And look at this Bering Strait and going into the Chukchi and the Beaufort Seas. So that's coming in, and that's melting. That when it comes out to the edge, and that water comes up under the ice, and it's melting it. And the red corresponds to 4 to 6 degrees Celsius anomaly, which is huge. Next is the air temperature, and all the air temperature is above freezing over the Arctic. And here's methane, and it's, so he did a little video, and it reflects similarly to the one I just showed you. And no data from the National Snow and Ice Data Center. So, sea ice thickness. Well, this is, you have to go through this warning whenever you go to this Navy website. I don't. I mean, it happened once or twice, and you have to click learn more, and then you go on and go in. But here's a GIF for the sea ice. It goes back 3 weeks and forward 1 week. So it goes to the 20th, and it's pathetic. Look at that. Look how it's thinning out just in a month. I mean, it's down to a nub. By the time you get down to, what is it, the 20th it goes through? By the time you get to the 20th, it's just a little nub left here, except for this purpley is the most, you know, a meter to 3/4 of a meter thick. and the lavender is 1/2 meter and less. And here it is, just a still shot from the 13th. So that's where we're at right now, or as of yesterday. And so the aqua is a little bit thicker. It's about 2 meters to 2.5 meters thick, and then it's gone. All the old ice, all the thick old ice is gone. And here was sea ice thickness from July 14th, 2014, so 5 years ago. And this is the same model set, the GLB. Remember, we had this whole discovery that there are 2 data sets on the Navy website. You have to make sure you get GLB, not ARC, because ARC is the old data set and you can't really compare. But this is what it was in 2014, this time of year 2014. So we're seeing a lot more green, which was 3 meters up in the 3, and then there was still yellow, which was 3.5, and red, and that was up into the 4 and 4.5, and even the dark red, which was up to 5 meters thick. And the extent was much better. Well, it's about this, you know, it's about the same on the extent, except it's we're more melted in already on this west side. But that's just so sad looking. It's just barely hanging on. It's barely there. It just makes me want to cry. And here's the Arctic basin, and he has the wildfire layers turned on. So these are all the wildfires burning in Siberia, and here they're burning in Alaska. And there's the sea ice. And see, you can't really see the holes because the cloud cover. Here's Novaya Zemlya. And then high levels of water in the atmosphere. And the green is showing where it's raining all over the globe. And global, this is the 2-meter temperature anomaly around the globe. And it's very high up here in Siberia. And a wave moving down through here, through Russia. And look at the Antarctic. And they're in the middle of winter. It shouldn't be like that. And here's the Antarctic with it red and red and red. So it's no wonder they've got methane popping up. So the Antarctic, it says, is 0.9 degrees higher than normal. The Arctic is 1.1 degrees, this is Celsius, higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is 0.5 degree higher than normal. The world is 0.3 degrees higher than normal, and the tropics is 0.5 higher than normal. Southern is 0. It's averaged out, southern hemisphere. So thanks, Robin, for this comprehensive report. And I think this Navy picture, especially this comparison from 5 years ago, kind of tells it all. That the ice is just barely hanging on, and we're already seeing the effects of having little to very little to no sea ice up there. It'll be gone soon enough. Now I want to talk a little bit about this berry event. Let's refresh this. This is on, oh, it's already getting dark there. This is on Climate Reanalyzer. This is the latest GO satellite image. So it looks like, well, the latest reports are that once Barry hit landfall and they had upgraded it to a hurricane category 1, it started really decreasing, and they downgraded it almost immediately to a tropical storm, and then they downgraded it to a tropical depression. And it looks like it's moved off to the east and north, and like there's no clouds over northern Louisiana. Here's Arkansas. It's clear. So Mississippi and Alabama, and then Tennessee, they've got some clouds. And so I don't understand, why they did the big hype. And I mean, they really built this up. They really built this up. Here's what it looked like this morning on NASA Worldview. Let's refresh and see if we got anything different. So this is what it looked like earlier today, but even now this cloud, this whole system has shifted over and it's kind of morphed up. So let's go to hourly forecast and let's see 10-day global. Let's go to United States and we'll go to accumulated precipitation, and it's starting from today. So here's what it looks like right now. So we can see where New Orleans is. They didn't get much rain. They only got they got most of their rain a few days ago, but this is where Barry has moved up, and then here it is at the mouth. This is where Mississippi comes out and opens into the ocean, the Gulf of Mexico here. This is Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and so forth. So let's run this and see what they expect now. So now they show it dumping in Arkansas. They show it, moving on up and dumping in Arkansas. And there have been so few reports, and they're showing more rain coming in, it looks like. This is inches down here. So Arkansas, it looks like it's going to get hit with about 5 to 6 inches of rain up here in the Little Rock area is what it looks like. And then it's going to spread out too, and the system is going to populate some other storm systems and then up here too. So this is just the beginning, but it looks like Louisiana is not going to get very much. So I'm wondering how this storm was really manipulated and how it was created and what the purpose of it was. And there's very little reporting on this. there's like no follow-up today, and it's been very frustrating to try and find anything to tell what's going on. Here's the National Weather Service on their Twitter page, and if I refresh it, this is from 12 minutes ago. Moderate risk is in effect in our day 1 excessive rainfall outlook. More details, and so there's that. I don't think it's very accurate. It says affecting northern Alabama and central Tennessee, and it's affecting eastern Louisiana and southern Mississippi and western Alabama, and 4 hours ago affecting southeastern Texas into central Louisiana. So it looks like, and this picture is pretty good, it looks like this is how the storm came in, and this is New Orleans is right over here. So it didn't get much, and it's coming on up. This is the Mississippi River along here. It's basically following the Mississippi up, and it's going to be dumping here near Little Rock and spreading out. That's what it looks like now. But no one's reporting on it. Nobody knows. And, there was this big hype, and everybody was reporting on it, and, all this, and now there's no follow-up. Oh, that's a picture of the Mississippi. I wanted to see where it went. It starts way up here in Minnesota. Starts right here at Lake Itasca, and then comes down. This thick blue line is the Mississippi, and so on. And it comes down, and then it empties out. It goes right through New Orleans. I didn't realize that, but it goes right through New Orleans and then comes out and opens out into the Gulf of Mexico in several different places. And I did find couple of people on YouTube reporting, just individuals, and so I left links below if you want to watch some of their videos. This one guy, his backyard was flooding from the lake that was coming up, and anyway. So I had an article, here it is. This is from the Washington Post. Let's see if they've got any updates. Berry heads inland with high risk of flash flooding in Louisiana. See, this is old news. This was updated last night at 10:54 p.m. So I'll leave the link below if you want to see. So here's pictures of it coming in, but this was from July the 12th. So they had their problems before Barry even hit, from the first big cloud of rain. So anyway, there's that. Now, and here's NASA Worldview. I showed you that. So here's what it looked like yesterday. Here it was on the 12th. That's when they got all that rain, where it was flooding. And here it was on the 11th. And this cloud had moved through, and it had been raining on the 10th. So see, their rain started days before Barry came on the scene. Here was the very beginning on the 9th. So there you go. Alright, let's look at some earthquakes. We've got a lot of earthquakes and they're still rolling in. We've got USGS pulled up here for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours, and we're showing 938 earthquakes worldwide. And of those, we have 88 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Now, they're going down. They are going down, but here's the event area. We can see a noticeable difference in the last 24 hours. We can see a definite huge decrease. Right now, there are 700. Is this my event area? Let me see. Oh, this is how I normally pictured it. 731 in the event area right now in the last 24 hours. Now this screenshot is from this morning at, what time did I take this? At 9:20 this morning, and it's showing 695 here and 910 earthquakes worldwide. 695, so that's actually, they've actually gone up since then, so they're at 731 and 938 worldwide. So that was kind of, the 695 was kind of at its lowest level this morning, and then I think it started going back up. There's a 3.2, but we can definitely see a decrease, but I don't think they're out of the woods yet, because they do have that split. There's a huge split, lots of splits in the desert there, where it's just long cracks that just go forever, and the road is separated and, you know, offset and everything. So so let's get going. We've got a lot of earthquakes. We had some big ones down here in Indonesia and off the coast of Australia. So 88 earthquakes that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Now let's see how many of those are in the event area. We've got, I'm going to count this one. We've got 29 in the event area. These are 2s and 3s. There's a 3.4 at Trona. And I think here's a 3.5 at Little Lake. I'm trying to find the biggest ones. Those are the largest ones in the last 24 hours. So let's see what's about to come off the map here. .6 south of the Fiji Islands came in at 6:44 last night. 527 kilometers deep, very deep. Now I might have already reported on this. I think I did. This 4.0 at Manhattan, Montana, that came in during my show last night. at 6:52, so we got that. 4.8 in Guatemala at 6:57, we got that. Here's a 2.9 Kodiak, Alaska, that came in at 7:23. I think we got that. 4.5 in Argentina last night at 7:25. I think that one came in right at the end of my show. 2.7 Searles Valley. 3.0 Blackwell, Oklahoma. That came in right at the end of my show. This came in at 8:05 last night at a 0.1 kilometer depth. Very shallow. Alright, here's a 3.0 in Puerto Rico. It's coming on off at 8:26. So we got plenty of time. We can start wherever we want. I'm going to start up here in the Atlantic Ocean. This is a second earthquake up here. We had one up here just about at the same place yesterday, and I think it was a 4.4, but this is a 4.5 on the Regianas Ridge. This came in at 4:58 this morning, right on the red line. Coming on around in Greece, we've had two, and all these times I'm telling you are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. Here's a 4.9 at Onokomi, Greece at 3:50 this morning, and a 4.5 at Kozani, Greece at 3:59 this morning. Next, just south of Crete, was a 4.3 near Gralea at 6:12 this morning. Here was a 4.4 at Narman, Turkey at 5:15 this afternoon. We've had two here in the Gulf of Aden. The first one was a 5.0 at 12:12 this afternoon, and a 4.8 at 12:15 this afternoon, so 3 minutes later, right in the middle of the Gulf of Aden, just off the coast of Yemen and Somalia, right on the red line. Next, we had two up here in Afghanistan. 4.1 at Farkar, Afghanistan at 4:31 this morning, and a 4.2 at Ashkasham, Afghanistan at 11:34 this morning. This one was 235 kilometers deep. That's quite deep. That's quite deep. Then coming on around, 4.7 off the west coast of northern Sumatra at 10:19 last night. Here's a 4.9 near Muara Siberut, Indonesia at 9:47 this morning. Then look at Australia. We normally don't see earthquakes here, but we can, and they're having an event. I would say they're having a huge event. Look at this. We've got 5 here, and it all started with the 6.6. The reporting station is Broome, Australia. This came in at 10:39 last night, then a 4.9 at 12:26 this morning, 4.5 at 3:58 this morning, a 4.5 at 8:58 this morning, and a 5.5 at 4:01 this afternoon. Here's Broome. So it's just off this northwest side of Australia, the Great Sandy Desert. So that didn't do damage because it was in the ocean, but people felt it. And then Indonesia is having an event, I'd say. Look at this. They've got 22 here. Look at this. This is insane. It started with this 7.3 near Laiwui at 2:10 this morning. It shows that it's on land, but I haven't seen reports of damage. We could look and see. We could look on Volcano Discovery. I looked earlier and I didn't see anything. Let's look. Let's see if anybody's reported that they felt it. And let's see. They've got all these aftershocks. Here it is. They've got it as a 7.1 near Halmahera. Here it says 7.0. Their UTC time was Sunday, July 14th at 9:10 UTC. The nearest volcano is 57 kilometers away, Bibinoi, and it's equivalent to 42.1 atomic bombs. Okay, here's some people say they felt it. Look, here's this troll from St. Petersburg that says not felt. And then they put this on every single one, and then they write in Russian. It's got to be a computer program. Here's someone at the Kobach airport. They said light shaking just back from field and felt a wobbling sensation. 410 miles from the epicenter, light shaking here. At Kurkapa, Indonesia, 306 kilometers away from the epicenter, felt a long but weak shaking. Lamps were trembling. Water in glasses was moving. And so on. I'm not seeing reports of damage. Here's someone 167 kilometers from the epicenter, not felt. So I don't know if it happened on land or not. Let's see what EMSC shows. Well, we've got the coordinates, but anyway, I'm thinking it must have happened in the ocean for people to have not have felt it, because that's massive, and that would have caused major damage. And these aftershocks, I mean, these would cause damage. So we've got 22, and they're in 4s and 5s. Here's a 5.7, and so on. And the last one was a 5.1 that came in at 8:44 this morning. Then up here was a 4.7 near Margo, Philippines at 5:14 this afternoon. Then there's a 5.1 near Manokwari, Indonesia at 3:04 this morning. Then over here, 4.6 south of Fiji Islands at 6:44 last night, 527 kilometers deep. Very deep. Very, very deep. Then coming on up, we had one just off the coast of Japan, a 4.3 near Asahi at 9:30 this morning. Then here's one on land at Hokkaido, a 4.4 near Obihiro at 6:23 this morning, 116 kilometers deep. And then here's a couple off the coast of Kamchatka, a 4.3 at 11:37 last night, and a 4.1 at 9:51 last night. Then here's a 4.8 near San Luis Iscan, Guatemala at 6:57 last night. Here's one in the ocean of 4.1 near Amapala, Honduras at 12:51 this afternoon. Then here's another one on Colombia, 4.4 near Duitama at 9:21 this morning, 175 kilometers deep. We saw another earthquake over here yesterday. And then two down here, 4.5 near San Jose de Jacal, Argentina at 7:25 last night, and a 4.2 near Los Andes, Chile at 8:56 this morning. Okay. So I think that's all of the international earthquakes. Let's see. So now let's go to all magnitudes and take a peek at Hawaii. We've got 6 here today, 2.1 and 2.0 at Pahala, 2.1 at Mauna Loa, 2.2 Pahala, 1.9 and 1.8 near Kilauea. So those are pretty small. It's still showing movement. Next at the Caribbean, look at this. We've got 11 here today. 2.3, 3.0, 0.9, 1.3, 2.0, 2.0, 1.8, 1.7, 1.9, 2.0, and 2.0. So those are just in the 2s range. 1.3. So those are not big enough to do damage. They probably didn't even feel anything on those. Now up here in Alaska, we've got 59 here today. That's they average 50 to 100, but that's a lesser number than we've been seeing. So of those, 3 are 2.5 or higher. Here's a 2.9 at Kodiak, 3.2 Anchor Point, and 3.0 Koktovik. So that's definitely a downtick. So when we zoom in, here's that 2.9. Look at that little dot. You'd think that would be bigger for a 2.9. And here's some small ones coming up. Here's the Cook Inlet. Now here's the Redoubt and Iliamna area. So we're still seeing some earthquakes in this area. They like to center around here. There's a 3.2. Here's a little cluster. 2.2 Nikiski. Redoubt. Those are ones and so forth. So that's near Redoubt. Here's the Anchorage area. And so they're peppered around, but it's just fewer. It's about half as many as what we've been seeing for the last few days up here. 2.3 Tanana. Here's Kobuk. We're showing 6 at Kobuk today. They're small. Here's a 1.4 at Nome. And here's Koktovik. So that's not showing much. Oh, we've got some in the armpit. A few in the armpit there. Small ones. Then coming down into the lower 48. There was one up here in Canada. I don't know why it's not on the map now. Let's see. 7 days, all magnitude. See if it'll show up. There it is. See, sometimes they sneak them on here. Look, here's this one up in Maine. I missed those two. This in Maine happened on the 12th at 11:38 in the evening at Sangerville, Maine. It was a 1.5. Here's a 3.7 near Ferme Nueva, Canada at 10:56 yesterday morning. Now what happens is sometimes they'll put them on the map, they'll post them after I've already done the report, but it will have happened like hours earlier. And so by the time I get around to doing the next report, these show up, but then they're gone. So that's what happens. So I can't get every single one of them. I get as many as I can. Okay, let's go down here. Oh, let's see how many are down here today. 820. So we've got 736. So not quite 100 to go over. Alright, here's one in Arkansas, a 2.5 near Wynn at 4:21 this morning at 0 depth. Here in Oklahoma we've got 3, 1.8 Blanchard, 3.0 Blackwell, and 1.6 Pawnee. 3.0 is getting up there. Next, Arizona's clear. Utah's clear. Now it is a Sunday, so we don't expect to see explosions and blasts. Sometimes we do, but we don't. That's unusual when we do see that. Now why is it going out so far? So here in the Yellowstone area, we're seeing two right at the same place. A 4.0, this came in last night at 6:52 p.m., 6 kilometers deep at Manhattan, Montana, and then this .7 came in last night at 7:30, 5.9 kilometers deep. So that's it for Yellowstone. Then here up in the Pacific Northwest, oh, I don't have my tremor map up. Hold on, I'll get it. Okay, I'm back. So pay attention to where these are. Now, I've got a little treat for you tonight. Here's our real-time tremor map. We've got yesterday's data here. 38 in the epicenter. And they're all right up here on Vancouver Island. And nothing down there. And then they're actually showing data for today. When you hit the next button and you refresh, look, 119. It's in the same place. So what do you think is going to happen up there? Do you think there's going to be an earthquake when they're all clustered right there? I would think so. But we're not seeing anything there yet. It would be right in here. Right where this Juan de Fuca plate is on a stress point with that, on that edge there. You would think. Alright, so we're still having earthquakes here in the Seattle area. We've got 2 on the northeast, 2.5 at 10:44 this morning, and a 1.6 at 7:18 this morning. Then here's one southwest of Seattle, a 2.0 near Navy Yard City at 7:21 this morning. And this is a stress point here. We see a lot of clusters coming in here. Here's a 0.9 at Clatskanie. There's a 0.5 at Amboy. Now Mount St. Helens is right there. So it was near Mount St. Helens. Here's a 0.9 at Mount Hood. That's another volcano. Just waiting to go off again. Then we've got a 0 magnitude at Three Rivers, Oregon. Coming on down in Northern California, all we're seeing is this 2.4 near Johnsville. This came in at 5:20 this morning at a negative depth, at a minus 1.2 kilometer depth, and we've talked about these. And that means that there's movement up in the mountain, in the chamber. Here's just to the west of Portola. Here's Lake Davis. It's not that far from Oroville. Here's Oroville, just to the west. And here's this 2.4. So that's kind of getting up there. Next, Reno's clear. All that's clear. Let's see if there's any in northern Nevada. Nope. we've got 1 near Walker Lake, a 1.2 at Hawthorne, and we got 3 in southern Nevada, 3 small ones. Now, here's a stray, 0.6 at Lone Pine. We've got 3 at Mammoth Lakes, looks like 1.2, 1.1, and 1.2. We'll come back to the event area. Here at the geysers, we've got 27 here today. That's kind of an average number. And these are all 1s and under. Here's a 1.2 near Alum Rock. Now here at the Pinnacles, we've got 3, a 1.8, 2.5, and a 1.4. Right on this red line, that's the San Andreas fault line. So we're following that down. So 1.2 at Arvin, 1.3 Carpinteria, okay, in southern California, excluding the event area, we have 24 here today. So that's a low, that's kind of an average number for a weekend. There's a 1.1. Let's see if anything down here is 2.5 magnitude or higher. No, it doesn't appear to be. So these are all pretty small and they're just peppered around. So these are 1s and under. I'm not even seeing 2s here. So that's gone way down. So I'm wondering if the pressure, if whoever is manipulating all of this, here's a 1.9 at Barstow, is like trying to move the pressure away from Southern California to the other side of the Pacific. It almost looks that way. I don't know if they could do that, but it almost looks that way with the big earthquakes we've had in Indonesia and Australia today. It almost looks like that, but I don't know how they would do it. Unless they've got their ways. They've got their technology. So here we are at the event area. Right now we've got 739 here. So that's gone up. This morning it was 695. And 910 earthquakes worldwide. So we're seeing 941 worldwide. So it's gone up a little bit. So these tend to fluctuate. They do. And so we've got 29 that are 2.5 magnitude or higher. 3.4. I already went through this. We've got some 3s and mainly 2s. So it's still moving. And it's still basically in this southeast to northwest direction and spreading still out to the east to Trona, and we're still seeing a clustering to the west at California City and Johannesburg. So I'm going to keep reporting on this. So let's see if anything came in while we were recording. I've shown that. I think that's it. We just had a 2.7 at Coso Junction. That was at 5:35. 2.5 Ridgecrest at 5:16. There's the Norman Turkey. We've done that. Philippines. So on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today. I hope everyone has had a safe weekend and that you're doing as well as possible, and we need to pray for each other. And I pray for everybody's soul. I pray that you get saved before it's too late. So time is short. No one knows the day or the hour, but we need to be ready. Be ready, be ready. So until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I'll talk to you soon. Good night.